Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's Friday, May 7th. I will apologize right here at the very beginning. I'm not at home. I'm actually in Louisville, Kentucky right now. My lighting is off. I don't have my monitors I normally do, so hopefully everything works today. We'll just have to see what happens here. All right, our agenda as always. We will start out with success stories. I happen to know we have 4 landings today. Unbelievable that I know about 4 landings we'll talk about. After that, we'll have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat box. After that, we will go to our committee reports, workshop, job fairs, pick crew, interview, success workshop, and then we'll hear from the career tip of the week. And then we will have our main event, which today will be open forum. And we have a little special event. We're going to talk about the first, when you get that initial phone call from a recruiter, you may not want to blow them off. And this is a very interesting little discussion that we'll start the things off with today. All right, for those people who are on Zoom, we ask please make sure, actually I'm going to skip these because I am not able to capture this information where I'm at today. So if you don't have your full name in, it's just good Zoom practice to make sure everybody knows who you are. And if you don't know how to do that, just sort of hover over the camera microphone button and click on the rename feature. That way you can change your name, and then don't forget at the very, very bottom there, you can click remember my name for future meetings, and your full name will be there all the time for you. Those people on Zoom, please just enter your questions into the chat box, or when we get to open forum, just open your mic up and we'll let you ask questions as we go here. For those people on Facebook, if you have any questions, please just enter your comments into the chat box. I am monitoring that. I am able to monitor that feed while I'm here. So I'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you post a comment in the chat box or you have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the person who was leading the group said, I've got a job, who wants to take it over? And I think I scratched my face. He said, okay, Jeff, you're it. So I've been doing that ever since. In 2008, I started careerdfw.org to help people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area find one place for their job search to make it easy for people. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about the PIT crew here in just a second. All right, well, we have 4 success stories. Let me start out. I don't know if any of these people are with us. Once again, I can't see everything like I normally do when I'm in Dallas. So the first person is Alexis Osborne. I don't think she's, well, I think she's already working here. So Alexis, she actually lives in the Atlanta, Georgia area. She says, I cannot thank you enough for all the time and effort you pour into job seekers. You've been a blessing. I landed on Monday, this past Monday. I didn't know the position, or 2 weeks ago, I didn't know the position existed. On Friday, I had a job offer, and it's my dream job. The position is an engineer at CAST. I'm so glad I held out for the right one. Thanks again. So she makes number 50. I've got my, let's see here. I've got things covered over so I can't quite see everything. Yep, she makes number 50. All right. The next person is Christina Matthews. I don't know, is Christina on the call with us today? No. All I know is she lives in the Houston area. She had applied for a part-time job, and that's what she went in for the interview. And by the end of the interview, they offered her a full-time job. So she's working full-time now. It was just one of those things from right place, right time. She goes in for the interview. They said, we need you. So she is now working full-time. Number 52 for us is Matt Keelan. I've accepted a position with Cherry Beckett, let me make sure Matt's not on the, Matt, are you on the call with us today? Nope, don't see him on there. Okay, I've accepted business with Sherry Barker, a public accounting consulting firm. I will start next week as a consulting practice as a senior manager, one level away from the partner in the organization. I'll be assisting clients with fractional CIO, IT strategy, and operation improvement, diligence, M&A, software selection, implementation, BC/DR, or whatever that means, infrastructure initiatives, etc. An internal recruiter initially reached out to me, but my network and leveraging mutual connections helped land me to the job. I'd like to thank you for leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group on Fridays, leading your other job seeker groups Monday through Thursday, and for maintaining careerdfw.org, the website. Not a week goes by that I don't mention your website to other groups. You're a true servant, and I appreciate everything you do, and anything I can do for you or anybody in the group, please don't hesitate to reach out. So Matt makes number 52. And number 53, I just heard about last night. Make sure Jose's he's not on either. I wanted to let you know that I landed yesterday, which would have been a couple days ago, and I have a new position as a senior IT project manager with Advance starting on May 24th. I want to take a moment to thank all of you. He sent this to several people for their generous and effective ministry to all who helped find themselves in this transition. Through Mark and Walt, I went through every single of the 13 sessions on interviewing. I also called Mark about discussing my reason for leaving, not living, and leaving, that's what it should be, and attend Walt's interview success workshop. All of that got me ready for my interviews in this position. It all happened very quickly, 2 weeks from initial contact to the offer. So once again, that's what it says, don't wait to practice interviewing, because when it happens, it could happen really quick. But I was ready thanks to you all. And to Jeff, thanks for keeping all these resources going. The pivot to virtual has been executed with great excellence. Thanks again for your servant hearts and your general spirit. So Jose makes number 53. Do we have anybody else on the line who has landed? If you've landed on the line and you'd like to unmute your mic and tell us, we'd love to add you to the list. Going once, going twice. All right, well, there we go. Thank you very much. This is great to have 4 more landings. It sounds like they went really quick. Within a week or two, they were interviewed and hired, and off we go. So, all right, so what we want to do now is we want to get everybody to enter their 30-second introduction. So if you will, open up your chat box, if you will, and please put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, comma, a couple target companies, comma, and then hit the return key. And for those people on Facebook, when you do that, I will go after this meeting and delete that information, so it won't be hanging out on Facebook forever and ever. But for everybody else, if you will start entering your information in the chat box, that would be great. Let's see if we can get 30 seconds here on the clock. So hopefully everybody's getting those in there. I see them popping in. Thank you very, very much. And you can continue to do that as we keep going here. All right. Well, it's time for job and career fairs, training and workshops. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to all. As Jeff said, I'm going to give you information about the career and job fairs and special workshops or events. The information comes from the calendar tab at the website careerdfw.org. I go through these items fairly quickly, so if you hear something that catches your ear and would like to find out more about it, I urge you to go to the calendar, click on that item, and you will generally find more information and or links about how to register for the event and or participate in Zoom or Facebook. All right, this week's career and job fairs. No career and job fairs this week. However, there is the United Electronic Recycling event. It'll be held Saturday, May 8th from 9 a.m. to noon at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church at 5801 West Plano Parkway in Plano. There is a follow-up event the following week, Saturday, May 15th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Christ United Methodist Church at 3101 Coit Road. And that may be the Saturday that they do the paper shredding, because they do paper shredding the third Saturday of each month. If you have any electronics or things like that that you need to dispose of, this is the best place to do it. All right, this week's special workshops or events. Networking Mondays online. Join Career DFW and careerusa.org each Monday from 1 to 2:15 p.m. Central for Networking Mondays. There is a Zoom link and a Facebook link on the calendar for you to participate in that event. People Skills Interviewing. It's your audition virtual workshop, Monday, May 10th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. presented by the Water Tower Theater. This looks like it's the final presentation, Leadership. Be the leader that you want to work with. Will be held again Monday, May 10th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. online. Join Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, or Kurt Vondemutter each week for an online session on LinkedIn. And there's a link and a Facebook page link for that. It's May 11th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. There'll be an Employability with a Background workshop to be held at Opening Doors for Women in Need at 3600 Horn Street in Fort Worth on Tuesday, May 11th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there's a link to find out more about that. Who You Know Career Transition Summit online will be held Wednesday, May 12th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. There's a link to register for that. This event is hosted by Foster Williams, and if you don't know Foster, I urge you to get to know him. Interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m., the 13-part workshop presented by Mark McDonald and Walt Glass is in the session 2, and that is going to be held May 12th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. The title of the session is Preparing for a Specific Interview and Networking, Part 1. Preparing for a specific interviewing opportunity, including how to prepare if there is a limited time, the benefits of networking to the job search, and how to get started. And this session continues the discussion from last week. Online again, Resume Thursdays online session with Carol Brickell, Certified Professional Career Coach, will be held Thursday, May 13th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And there is a Zoom link and a Facebook link on the website to participate in that one. And that's it for this week.
Eldon, thank you very much. I get here. This is very odd. None of my controls in the right place here for the first time for me traveling in 19 months. And so this is all really weird for me. All right, Eldon, thank you very, very much. Okay, for those people, if you happen to know somebody who just lost their job, or if you know somebody in job transition, please tell them about Career DFW and careerusa.org. Both websites are there to help people out. If you know somebody who just lost their job, please, have them click, where it says here, I just lost my job. It's a little banner at that very heading, and there's a great one-page article, and it links to several other links with some great little checklists and everything that would help you in your job search. All right, it's time to hear about the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Jeff, and welcome from, you're in Kentucky, right? Yeah.
I am in Louisville, Kentucky. I missed the Derby by 1 week.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. I was looking at the list of attendees. I see some new people, and I see some people that have been around for a while. So I want to talk about the pit crew, and I just posted up my contact information, which has the contact information for the pit crew as well, and my LinkedIn profile. The pit crew has gone virtual. We now, but the format's the same. We give you a chance to practice your interview skills, and it's a very targeted and personalized, customized interview experience because it's based on a job description and a resume that you provide. And that job description could be something you're engaged in. It might be a dream job for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be an opportunity that's in hand. And, I would say, 90% of the people who reach out to the pit crew have an interview coming up in a few days. And, that's great, but you could be so much more prepared if you just practiced well ahead of time. And we heard today, at least one of those landings, and I think two of them happen very quickly. You get called and a week later you're working, and in that case there's not going to be much of a chance to practice. So congratulations to those people. You should come and practice though. And especially if you're changing careers, if you want to do something different, maybe in the same industry, or if you want to do the same kind of thing in a different industry, that is a great reason to come and practice, convincing the panel of interviewers that you're the right person for that job, that your skills are transferable, that you have a burning desire to work in that new industry, and it transcends, just being out of work. So come and practice doing that. Now, I mentioned the panelists who give the interviews. They're all hiring managers. Most of them are in job transition. All of them have some job transition experience. Myself, I was laid off 3 times towards the last 10 years of my career. And so, I've been a hiring manager. So you're going to get advice and assessment from professionals, essentially, people who had hired people as part of their professional responsibility. So when you're ready to practice, send that resume and job description to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. There's the email address. And I also posted it up on the chat window. It takes 2 or 3 days to set up the interview. We have to get your schedule and the schedule of the panelists lined up. And so include in your email when you are available, if there's any restrictions on your time, for 2 days from the day you submit it, and 3 days, 2 days and 3 days. And we'll go for 2 days first. And then if we have to, we'll do 3 days after your interview. So that's how long it takes to set up a practice interview. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. And I also encourage you to practice early and practice often. There's no limit on how many times you can practice. I think the record, which I hope you don't aspire to, is 9 practice interviews. So I can guarantee if you practice 9 times, you'll land. At least I have some evidence that that's true. So here's my LinkedIn profile. So just send me a brief email that says we met on North Dallas Career Focus Group, and I'll add you to my network, which will help you find connections inside your target company. So that's the main reason to build a big network. And the bigger your network, the more information flows to you from that network, and the more you can leverage it. So just a brief note, so I know where I met you, and I'll add you to my network. And then one final thing I want to mention is I have put together a one-way interview experience, a Pit Crew one-way interview experience. So if you guys haven't had the opportunity to do this yet, it's where you get a chance to you get a chance to answer interview questions, and nobody's on the other end. It's just recorded. And I got to tell you, when I did it myself, it was a very strange way to answer interview questions. So it's something you should practice if you get the chance. And I think it's going to become more and more popular, where they record these and then they watch them later, and they can, have different people look at them. And sometimes they even include email questions. I'm seeing more and more people who come to the Pit Crew say they've been asked to give a 15-minute presentation as well. So something magic about 15 minutes. So if you want to practice that, we just did one yesterday. We just did the presentation. It wasn't really an interview. They did the presentation and we gave them some feedback on it. So the Pit Crew can help you multiple ways. Just reach out and let us know what you need, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, in case anybody's asking, I didn't hear you say it, it is totally free for any of the interviews. So come sign up. You're welcome to as many times as you'd like. All right. What about coming up this Wednesday, Mark?
Oh yeah, Wednesday. We are on session 2 now. So we started session 1 last week, and if you missed it, you can go to Career USA, the Career USA channel on YouTube. I always get this confused. So let's start with YouTube. You go to YouTube, and then you put Career USA into the search box, and it'll take you to Jeff's channel, where there's a lot of videos there, and one of those is Interview Wednesdays. And so last week we did the first session, which most new candidates, new to the job search, do not realize how much preparation is necessary. Now you may think, well, I got to do a resume and I got to do a LinkedIn profile, but there's a lot of preparation involved in getting ready to interview with confidence. So that's what we talked about last week, is preparing in general. This week we're going to talk about preparing for wow, trying to talk too fast. Preparing for a specific interview, and also networking. And so we rearranged the order after doing this a couple of times and pushed networking up to the front. Last week, we also covered working with recruiters. So those are some topics that you will encounter when you're new to the job search that you need to figure out pretty quickly, or you're going to be very confused. And so those are the first two topics we talked about. So come on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and every Wednesday after that, for the next 3 months, we'll be going through the 13 sessions. Thanks, Jeff.
I see a question in the Karen's asking in the chat. How do you get to the one-way interview? Just send an email?
Everything begins with an email to the DallasPitCrew@gmail.com. So just send an email, say you'd like, to do a one-way interview, and we'll take it from there. I'll send you a link, and you'll do the interview, and then you'll get a copy of the results. And you can take that copy if you want to get some feedback on it. You can take that copy and share it with somebody to give you feedback, but it's not really the part of the practice interview. Is just to give you a chance to practice, and you can do with that video whatever you'd like to do with it.
And after you've done marked and you want to do a second one, you can send me an email and I will send you a second link, and you can do my different questions and different requirements. So
let me tell you a little bit more since Jeff mentioned it. So the one I give you the questions in advance. Okay, so you'll have the questions in advance. You can prepare to answer those questions. You get one shot, though. You get one shot to make your recording. So, and that's a true scenario. A lot of where you only get one shot to answer the questions. Okay, but there's other ways they do that, and Jeff's has kind of a different set of questions. But you get multiple chances. You can watch your recording and re-record it, and so put together. Boy, so there you go. Either way.
A couple different options, and right. And it's it's not that we're going to evaluate you. We're just trying to do this to give you some experience, to give you some practice, and just so you can experience what it's like to go through it. And if you're prepared and you do all the things they talked about last week in session 1 of the interview workshop, you will have a lot of these answers all ready to go. So that's why preparation is so very, very important in your job search. All right, thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Walt, good morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, why not have a third chance for a one-way interview? Okay. And so I got one set up myself, but I handle it a little bit differently. So my name is Walt Glass, and I enjoy helping people gain skills and confidence for successful hiring interviews. And I do that through the Interview Success Workshop. This is quite a bit different than the mock interview. It's meant to be a practice/learning interview. And I start with the basics and the fundamentals. There's 2 basic things that I'm working with you to improve on. One is to differentiate yourself with other candidates. And the other is how to sell ourselves, defined by who we are, what we do, and how we can help. So how do we sell those 3 elements and do that effectively? Make sure it's a good job match for both of us. It's very informal. I do it online. You get a video too of your interview. But it's just, let's put your learning hat on, come down and say, hey, I don't need to have fear. I don't need to have anxiety. I don't need to have stress to learn how to improve my skills. So send me a email to my Yahoo email address. All the about section on my LinkedIn page will tell you about the workshop and give you some more details. Send me that email and I'll give you some dates so you can be registered, because you have to be registered to attend, because it's only do 2 people at a time. So I would enjoy having you come on down. So I call it learning without squirming. Oh, tell me, I pray it's not true. Another poem about practice interviews? Well, register with me, save money, it's free. I strongly recommend it's what you do.
Thank you very much, Walt. All right, it's time to hear the career tip of the week. It comes from the Career.fw or Career USA website. There's a new tip every week. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. Flourishing during job searches. This is by Brandy Simula, a professional development specialist at the Georgia Institute of Technology and a certified career coach. Job searches can be stressful under the best circumstances. Currently, when we are experiencing the intersection of a global health pandemic, economic downturn, and large-scale hiring freezes across multiple economic sectors, searching for a new position can be especially daunting. This article addresses 4 practices that can help job seekers flourish even in today's challenging market. First, by strategically managing your job search, you can prevent it from taking over your life and impeding your progress on other goals. Minimize job search stress, and avoid burnout, and make the most effective use of your job-related search time, energy, and labor. One of the most important parts of strategically managing a job search is to set boundaries around when you will engage in search labor. That includes not only the work on identifying possible positions, completing applications, and preparing for and participating in interviews, but also the emotional labor of thinking about and mentally managing your search. Setting regular times to engage in such search-related labor and honoring boundaries around when you're off the job search clock are some of the most effective ways of preventing your search from interfering with everything else you're involved in and from eating away at your mental health. For example, you might schedule time to read job ads and identify positions you want to apply for on Monday and Wednesday mornings, and set aside 3 hours or on Tuesday and Thursday evenings to work on applications and prepare for interviews. Taking breaks from thinking and worrying about finding a job is crucial to flourishing during a job search. While it can be tempting to seek information through job wikis, discussion boards, and job market gossip sites, the time that it can take and the emotional roller coaster it can put you on can be more harmful than helpful. If you do decide to participate, consider setting boundaries around how often you check in. Approaching a search strategically also requires resisting the urge to apply wildly. Letting anxiety and fear about the lack of availability of positions drive you to apply to every position for which you're qualified, regardless of how interested you are in a given one or how strong a candidate you are, is not the most effective use of your time. Rather, prioritize spending time on positions you are most interested in and where your application is most likely to be successful. Second, it's useful to develop your support network with different, though sometimes overlapping, pools of people whom you can draw on for support. Your network might include people from whom you get advice and feedback, people with whom you want to share successes, people with whom you can share challenges, fears, and setbacks, and those who can be available at pressure points in the search process, like who can field messages from you immediately before or after interviews. While you might already have a strong general support network, ask people in it for specific kinds of assistance during your search, and don't forget to share times you'd like them to be available in advance. As you're developing and drawing on your network, it's also important to consider how you will acknowledge, value, and ideally reciprocate or pay forward the support you are receiving. Thirdly, manage your search information. It's important to remember that you get to choose what information you share and how, when, and with whom you share it. Be prepared for questions about your job search from your mentors, friends, and family. Consider if and how you want to use social media related to your job search. Social media network can be especially useful in a job search, but constant attention can be distracting and draining. Lastly, care for yourself while searching. If you haven't yet developed strong self-care practices, now is the time. Building self-care into your regular routine is an important part of managing stress and flourishing. In addition to your routine self-care practices, it's useful to have specific practices for pressure points in your search. What practices will help you most effectively prepare for and decompress after interviews? What will you draw on when you receive disappointing news about a position you're interested in? Regardless of how accomplished you are, your search will almost inevitably include disappointments and rejections. Balance those moments with celebrations of each success and define success generously. Getting a first round interview is a significant accomplishment. Getting an in-person interview is also. Honor small achievements and advancements rather than only celebrating the position you accept. Remember that in your job search, you have the first and final decision about which career paths and positions are a good fit for you. Strategically consider your expectations for yourself during your search. Don't set unreasonable expectations about how many positions you'll apply to or how much you'll invest in each application. Think seriously about where and how you choose to invest your limited intellectual and emotional labor in your search. Similarly, consider how positive or upbeat an outlook you're demanding of yourself. While a buoyant attitude can be useful, the pressure to bright side challenging situations can actually undermine well-being. It's okay to recognize that job searches can be anxiety-provoking and exhausting. Finally, remember that this job is almost certainly not going to be your last. If your current search doesn't end up yielding a position that feels like a fantastic fit, remember that it's unlikely you'll be stuck in that position forever. We can't hear you, Jeff.
Sorry about that. I muted myself. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karen. So coming up here in just a second, we'll do the main event. First, we're going to have a presentation from Tony. I never know how to pronounce Tony's last name. First interview, phone interview tips. So he'll tell you why he sort of come up with this and explain it. That sort of lead us into, then it'll lead us into open forum, and we'll talk about questions. I do have one question that somebody submitted online that they didn't want to mention who they were, but we'll talk about it too, about maybe give her some advice on what she maybe should do. All right, upcoming next week, why your next job should be you should consider a contract role, so contract role. So that'll be next Friday. On the 21st, job search optimization and the personal value calculation program. And then on the 28th, this is always a fascinating presentation, labor law. I'll be asking if anybody has any questions about labor. I know, the whole returning to work and do you have to have a kind of company require you to have a COVID shot and all those kind of things will be some interesting topics to talk about. But we have a labor law attorney who will be with us on May 28th. Just a reminder, Career DFW and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Groups are two different organizations. This is not the Friday group of Career DFW. Career DFW is a website, is a 501c3 nonprofit that I started several years ago. The North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group has been around since the late 1990s. The only common thread at this point is that I happen to lead both. If anybody would like to overthrow me and take on the reins here on every Friday morning, just let me know. But you're not going to get Career DFW out of my cold hands. I've got them well controlled. So I just want to make sure that people understand this is two different organizations. Okay, it's time for our main event. We're going to let Tony go first here. So let me stop sharing. This will take me a second. Tony, I need to give you rights to get in. So Tony, do you want to sort of explain to people before we get started, why what this is about?
Yeah, sounds good, Jeff. Thanks, and good morning, everyone. The last few months, I've been working a contract job for the U.S. Census Bureau, and a good part of that is I've been phone interviewing and hiring hundreds of people through the Midwest and Rocky Mountain states to be their summer enumerators. And my goal here is to help you make the best first impression, particularly that you can on a phone interview. A lot of people don't come across well or make some, I think, mistakes that could be easily corrected. So that's the goal of what I want to share this morning. It won't take long, just a few pages, but let's go through that. I'm going to, Jeff, share my screen. Just give me one moment here. We'll put that into slideshow. Sounds good. Does that look good, Jeff? We set to go?
Yep, you're good to go.
Awesome. So my first tip is please clearly identify yourself when I'm calling to ask for you. So for example, if I call Jeff and say, good morning, my name is Tony Bieniosek from ABC Corporation. Can I speak with Jeff Morris? It doesn't make the best first impression if just says yeah or yes or why are you calling? Instead, Jeff should clearly say, yes, this is Jeff Morris. How can I help you? Or even better, I'm excited that you called. Because otherwise, if he just says yes, then I have to ask a second question, are you Jeff? So it just sets the conversation off a little bit stronger. To add to Walt Glass's comments, I totally agree with that. Enthusiasm in your voice and your answers will put you in the top 20%. If you can come across with energy, you just say, I'm glad you called, I'm excited about this right away, you're much better off than most of the other candidates. Let anyone know who may answer your phone that you're expecting a phone interview. A lot of times it seems when I would call for a female candidate, a male would answer the phone and he would say, she's not available. And then I would say, well, can you please take a message? This is about a job that she applied for. Oh, you're calling about a job. Let me go get her. That's okay. But again, it's not the best first impression that it could be, as opposed to, oh, she's been looking forward to your call. Let me go get her. Avoid Esau's error. You may be familiar with a story from the book of Genesis about Esau selling his birthright to his brother Jacob for a bowl of Lent stew. My point here is if I call to ask for an interview or you're called, please don't tell them, I'm eating lunch right now, can you call back later? Or I'm preparing for dinner, can we make this call tomorrow? We can do that, but that's not as good a first impression as it could be. The job, I think, should be more important than putting off your meal for 15 or 20 minutes. Please don't interview while you're driving. Pull over or ask to reschedule the call. I don't want to hear your GPS talking or the road noise or another phone conversation in that vehicle from someone else. It's really okay to say, please wait, I'm going to pull over, let's talk, or let's talk in a minute, can you call me back, that type of thing. I would feel much better about that for your safety. If you need to schedule a different time to talk, it's better to be specific, such as, can we reschedule a call to 3 o'clock this afternoon? That's particularly true. I totally understand it. If you're working another job and you say, look, I'm on my other job, can I call you back? That's great. But if you can be particular or ask me, what time would be better for you to call me? That would be awesome. Your caller ID may say spam risk when I'm calling because I'm calling from a shared bridge line. So I've unfortunately had a lot of experiences where I could tell someone just picked up the phone and hung up, or they were rude because they thought I was some solicitor. So just be careful about that. A spam risk may not always be a telemarketer. Please have your voicemail set up and not full to accept messages. I would say at least 10% of the time when I would call a candidate, either the voicemail box wasn't set up or it was full. And I know this has happened to me twice in the last year. My iPhone voicemail fills up pretty quick. So you might want to check that once in a while just to make sure it's accepting messages. Speak slowly and project your voice. It's okay to spell out names and so forth. Because all we have is the phone in this verbal conversation, I cannot see nonverbal communication such as your hand gestures, facial expressions, or other types of nonverbal communication. Now, some insights from my side of the desk. As a contracted first round interviewer, I have a spreadsheet of names and phone numbers to call. I'm going to go through those names in order. I do not have information or access to your confidential information. I'm reading questions and sharing information from an approved script. So if you answer this way, I'm going to go to this question. If you answer that way, I'm going to go to this question. Just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm listening for reasons that may disqualify you. Please answer the questions and be polite. That is, it's easy for me to say that person is not a good candidate. It's up to someone else often to make the final decision to hire you or to make sure that you pass the background check. I have a number goal of candidates that I'm going to recommend to be advanced to the next level or hiring step. As soon as I reach that number goal, it may be 3, it may be 9, that opening is closed. I'm going to ask you questions that you've previously answered in your application, such as, what's your email address? And there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, to verify, for example, that we have the right email address for you. And secondly, to confirm that I'm doing my job and actually spoke with you. Be cautious or not overly suspicious. So again, to that example, if I'm given a list of 50 names and I have a goal of 3 to 9, I don't want to just say, oh, there's my buddy, Mark McDonald. I'm just going to put him forward and just never call the other people. This way I can indeed tell my boss, yes, I did speak or try to speak with all 50 candidates. Here's some information that I have that you didn't provide to me originally. I may be working in a noisy office environment, so I may not hear you well if you're soft-spoken or speak with a heavy accent. We may have a bad phone connection. You should feel free to call back if needed. If just ask for a different callback if we need a better connection, or go ahead and ask, can you hear me okay? Is this a good connection? And that's my presentation so far. Are there any questions from anyone?
Well, I do have a couple ones. Number one, so you've been doing this because you've been calling for the U.S. Census. You're doing follow-up stuff with the U.S. Census. So when you initially answer the phone, you tell people, hi, this is Tony Bezer. Tell me how to
pronounce it. Tony B, there you go.
Tony B, this is Tony B. I'm with the U.S. Census, and you've already applied for this job, and I'm calling to ask a few questions. So you identify yourself right up front.
Oh, yes, I definitely identify my name and who I'm with and why I'm calling. I'm calling about a job. You applied for this position.
Right. All right. Because Leora said in the comments, they never identify themselves when they call, and we don't know if it's a fake credit card call, et cetera. So, if you're getting, I think, something legit, I think they're going to realize that, they're going to be properly identified, and it should be something. And I guess my second question is, your list of 50 people, these are people who have already applied, and you're just now reaching out. So this shouldn't be a shock to anybody that, oh yeah, you applied for this last year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jeff. So we're calling people that have already applied online. We have all their basic information. Someone within the organization has already preliminarily screened them, putting all that spreadsheet so together for me. And I will clearly identify that I'm, with organization ABC or the census or whoever. However, the other side of that is sometimes on the caller ID, it won't say US Census. It's going to have a generic number there. And so people will, what is this? So that's why the spam risk comes up. So, however, we're only going to call people that have applied for that job. And I'll say that up front. I'm calling from organization ABC.
And do you, personally, I don't answer phone numbers that I don't have that are not in my phone contact list. So would you leave a message and give an opportunity for somebody to call back, or is that then gone?
That's a good and interesting question. And I'm a little hesitant to say this, but for example, with the census, there were groups of candidates. They were sort of priorities. And there were certain groups we definitely would leave a message for. For example, if someone was a veteran, we would try extra hard to get in touch with them. If someone was not a veteran and not a former employee, we would not leave a message unless we've been through the list. We don't have the candidates we need. Let's try a second time to go through the people that I didn't get in touch with. Then perhaps we would. But just for whatever reason, the guidance that I got was, for speed reasons, you don't leave a message, just go on to the next person. Because the problem is, if you do leave messages for people, and again, I can only recommend 3 people to move on to the next step. If I leave voicemails for 8 candidates and then 7 or 8 of them call me back and I've already filled up the 3 slots, they say, I'm sorry, you're too late. That's maybe the bit of the trade-off. It's an awkward thing. I'm not thrilled about that. But yes, sometimes we leave a voicemail and sometimes we don't. And there's guidance, there's procedures for that.
Right, right. Okay, well, Tony, I mean, thank you. I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, one of the reasons I don't answer it is because apparently there are some people in the medical field who call me all the time wanting a medical transport because my phone number is 1 digit off from this medical transport people. I now know what the name of that company is and I know their phone number and I tell them, oh, you have misdialed. Be sure to put a 9 instead of a 5. And, you know, I say, oh, sorry. And they, you know, they go away. But yes, I get medical transport calls all the time. So that's why I don't answer my thing. If anybody else has any questions, please unmute your mic. Please let us know. Questions?
Hi, it's Leora. When I get the recruiters or the recruiters assistants calling me, they never ever identify themselves. They just ask for me by name and that's it. But I do pick up every single call in case it's a job opportunity. So, but we know here, we were warned in New York that if we get a call from someone we don't know, and it could be one of these spammers, if we just say the word yes, they have our voice recorded and then they can say yes and charge our phones with expensive phone calls or something like that, that like we gave consent. So it's a problem. We have to question everybody who calls us, you know, may I ask who's calling, what is your purpose?
If they don't identify themselves up front, you have to right then sort of realize there's something a little suspicious going on. And you need to ask, well, who's calling?
Mhm.
Right. but the
Personally, when I
recruiters
answer the
assist-
personally, when I answer the phone, I say, this is Jeff Morris. Can I help you?
Oh, well, we can't do that because we get too many spam calls here in New York. I get several a day.
Yeah.
But the recruiters assistants are not very professional. They just ask for us by name.
You can get a separate phone number in Google Phone that is free and will be ringing in your cell phone, and you don't have any issue with that. You can change the number later on when you have a job.
Okay, thank you. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Susan says, is there an issue to politely asking, may I ask who is calling before we confirm who we are? I think by just asking, you know, who may I ask is calling and what's this about?
Right. Right. No harm in that. They really should identify themselves up front. And if they don't, it's perfectly fine to say, may I ask who's calling?
Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
I have a phone interview coming up on Tuesday with a company that I'm very interested in. And I'm trying to hang up my phone. That I'm very interested in. And I was asked to have some questions ready for them on a 15-minute phone call. What would be good questions for just a short time like that?
So you're looking for a list of questions to ask, that they want you to come up with a list of questions to ask the company.
It was suggested that I come up with a list of questions and that I definitely do my research on their website. So with that kind of information in front, I mean, I usually research the company anyway, but in a 15-minute phone interview, obviously you don't want to ask questions about what I'm looking for what would be some questions that would be impressive to ask in a 15-minute phone conversation. I know what to ask in an interview situation, the questions I would ask, but in a 15-minute phone conversation, that you're trying to make yourself stand out, be different, what would you suggest?
Mark, Walt, Tony, anybody?
I can give you a suggestion. what questions are the most important for you to find the responses to work at that company? What are the most important things you need to know? So this would be culture, I think, is a huge question, a strong suggestion, because if the culture doesn't fit, the rest doesn't matter. But what are the most important questions that you would like to know about the company, the job, or the industry, or whatever's going on in that? Because they will grade you by the questions that you ask. If you just keep it and asking just about the job instead of about the company or about the leadership or about the culture or what are the types of people that you'll be working with or things like that that are important to you. And so I get a list of 10. You probably won't get to ask all 10, but you'll have them prioritized what's the most important. So while they have a list of questions to ask us, we should have a list of questions we want to find out from them as well. So those that are important to you are the ones I suggest.
This is Gary. I would ask what type of challenges do you have that I should be able to help you with? So right up front, then you can react to and ask other questions from that. That's the way I'd handle it.
And I also love the question. I don't know if this is your first interview with them. The question is, what was it on my resume that was of interest?
Yeah.
Because then you know what to talk about. Because if they found you because of X, if you're talking about Y and Z, they're not going to care about that. But if you're talking about X, you can give them a little success story about how X was great and how you solved the problem. And then, then you ask them the next question. Do you have these kind of issues at your place?
Thank you.
Glenn, do you have a job description?
I do have a job description.
Okay. So you got the basics of what the job entails.
Yes, I do. So, I would form some questions based after that, but sometimes my questions are in an interview or more about, what specific characteristics are you looking for in a successful candidate, or
Okay, well, let me turn that one around. What are the characteristics of top performers in this role?
okay.
Because you want to be a top performer. It's a good question, just rewording it, coming at it from a different direction. What else would you ask?
Usually I ask questions about what would they need to see in the first week, 30 days, 60 days to know that they had the right position, that they had the right person for the position.
Okay, here's an alternative to that. It's 6 months from now, and I've had my first merit review and I got an outstanding rating. What did I do?
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Now, and don't forget, as Walt said, you want to ask some questions about the culture and the people you'll be working with. And assuming that's important to you, and it probably is, but don't neglect to ask about the environment.
Yes, definitely. Uh-huh. Thank you all.
Very good. All right, what else let's see here. I've got a question. Let me see. This was a question somebody asked. They didn't want to mention who they were. Let me go find it here on my email. Okay, so I'll sort of read it. The question is, when it rains, it pours. And this person's had 2 target companies, and she just got a good contract offer to work at company A. A couple hours later, a permanent position opened up at target company B. The dilemma: do you go ahead and submit a resume to company B, or do you go, I have a contract job, I just need to do company A? So she gave me a bunch more details. I'm not going to go into any of those, but I just sort of want to throw that out to the group and go, what would you do? Anyone?
If you have something secure at this moment, I would say probably take it.
I apply for company B. I have the contract. If I have the job in company B, I leave the company A.
So you're saying go after the permanent position,
Yeah,
go
Definitely.
after the full-time job.
yeah, I'd say you're always looking for full-time work, and a contract job is a filler. So, you don't know the future and how long it might take for company B to come through, or even if this job is the one you will ultimately accept. So, you can start your contract job and keep pursuing company B.
The other thing that might come into play is that company A, it might be several weeks before they actually start you. So why not pursue B in the meantime, and you can have a better feel. Now, once you're hired by A, I'm of the opinion you stick with A. But that's a personal preference.
You might inform company B that you are looking at other alternatives, and is there a way that they could speed up the process? Is there a way they could do something a little bit sooner and quicker for you? Because you're really interested in them, you'd really like to work there, give them some reasons. Don't just tell them. I remember one time they said, "Why do you want Air Force ROTC rather than Army ROTC?" And I said, "Because I like the Air Force." Well, they didn't buy that. They put me in the Army because everybody wanted me in the Air Force. So, but that's what I wanted. But if you put it back in kind of in their terms, said, "I'm really interested in your company. I'm really interested in the position. I would like to find, is there any way we could accelerate the process as I have other alternatives in process?" Something like that. Maybe you can speed that up so you can be working both.
Any other comments? And I'm
Yes,
looking to see.
what is the issue to change the company? If you are in a contract, I don't see what is the cons to leave the company A.
I mean, until you get right. I mean, well, she gave me some more details. She said she's worked at the company A client before, and she loves the company. She can do the job easily. She said she's done it before. The money's very good. Company's B job would be more challenging. I'd have to learn new software, but she has a good friend at B who raves about the company, can possibly help me get my resume seen by the actual human eyes there. She's about 2 years from retirement, after which she just plans to do freelance part-time work at that point. The new software skills from company B would be very marketable. Both are great companies engaged in the community in ways that she admires. It would, if it would be wrong to proceed at B, these details don't matter. But,
What's the length of the contract?
She said the contract was 7 months. I mean, I think I agree with most people here. Even if you take your contract job at company A, unless you sign a document saying that, if you leave early, I mean, I don't know what they would, I don't know.
Yeah, unless it's a guaranteed contract, you're gonna get paid for 7 months, no matter what happens, then, I mean, you don't have a guarantee to them either. So you're uniquely qualified to solve a short-term problem that they have, okay? And that's it, it's a short-term problem. And they estimate it 7 months, it could be 5, it could be longer, but there's no long-term connection to needing your talents longer than this short-term engagement. So the only issue I see is that, the future is uncertain. Company B may not come through. Don't let company A die on the vine because of something you're expecting to happen in the future. Nobody knows the future.
Right. Take the sure thing. And if you have to leave after 4 months, you leave after 3 or 4 months because company B gave you a full-time job and you're really excited about it. So
Something that I do when I have a tough question, I say, okay, I'm going to answer it this way. Now it's 6 months from now. Am I going to wish that I'd gone the other direction? Am I really comfortable? Because whatever decision you make, you accept it, you live with it, and you go forward with it. And you don't look back and say, I wish I'd have done something differently. So which decision is the best for you? So you don't look back and say, I wish I'd have done it differently.
Yeah, good perspective.
Well, I
Kind
do
of goes
have one
along
question.
with it goes along with the, if you're having a tough time right now and in 10 years, you're going to look back on it and laugh, why wait?
All right, Michelle, you
Just go
were
ahead
going
and
to say
laugh
something?
now.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking also, what would help me decide on that is more money means more of a social security check, right? I mean, doesn't that also make it, because you want to raise that social security check as much as you can for retirement? So you would go for the higher pay. But I also don't know, though, whether a contract affects your social security check, your paycheck. So I don't know how contracts influence that.
Right.
But that's just that's what I would look at, is trying to get that big old social security check when I retire.
Got
Okay.
any CPAs online? Mike could help her out. I could contact and talk to each other and say how that affects your earnings.
Maybe it's not an either or. Maybe she starts the contract job, and if she gets offered the full-time job, is the contract job something that she can convert to do as a side gig, even evenings and weekends? I mean, I worked a full-time job, and then I had in a totally different area, I had a contract job for 5 years that I just did nights and weekends.
Good idea. All right. Well, how about that? I think thank you. Great. I mean, good feedback, and hopefully that person will take our feedback and run with it. What else would you like to talk about? Another issue somebody's having? Come on. I'm going to start calling on people.
Chef, I have a question.
Yes, Albert. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. I had an Amazon temporary job, so it was supposed to last until after Christmas, but it came to a point where they made me a permanent employee, but I did not perform to their standards. I was in packing stuff, which items which are sent to customers, and it can be very easily checked how many packages an hour I pack or a day. And the record is 150 packages an hour, which is incredible. My limit was 60. So as a supervisor, he recommended me to resign, okay? And I started another job also with Amazon on May 15. It's a job to load stuff to a truck which goes to deliver the packages. But my question is, outside of a bridge job, I am out of work for more than 3 years now. And I need to change my job strategy. And I think I need the help of a career counselor. So any recommendations of somebody or you guys, Chef, Walt or Mark, a recommendation to take a career counselor?
Jeff, are you familiar with St. Andrew's United Methodist Church's career care?
With who?
Well, I'm asking Jeff Morris. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with St. Andrew's United Methodist Career Care? I
Yes.
believe Bill Brewer, they meet on Thursdays at 2 p.m. And I believe that Bill Brewer, who heads that program and has for 20 years, says every week that they have volunteer career coaches. So perhaps that would be an option for you. He's a very sincere and well-meaning individual and has been a member of that church for years and years. So maybe that would be a way where a fee wasn't involved for you to get some additional support in your job search. And then have you tried Jewish Family Services? Because Jewish Family Services has career counseling and they have a sliding scale depending on your, or at least they did, several years ago. I can't imagine that that's changed. Those might be two resources for you.
Yeah, I can try it. What was the name of the counselor?
The first person was Bill Brewer. Oh, there's his email. They just put it in the chat box. Thank you, Lenora. Bill. Yeah. So there's an email address right there. So you can also, beside, they just put in Bill Brewer's email address. Jewish Family Services was the second one. And then also there's a third one, the Senior Source. You can reach out to their employment office down at the Senior Source and just see if you can ask, just tell them you need to talk to someone about career counseling. I know they have a couple people on staff. So that'd be a third option.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if you want to pay somebody, I don't want to recommend anybody. I mean, I have several people I would recommend, but I don't want to do that, on an open call like this. If you want to reach out to me, I'll be glad to, give you some names of a couple people if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, okay, okay. Should I send you an email?
You can.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, thank you. I will try.
Thank you, Albert.
This
Jeff,
is
this
Brenda
is
Toombs, and I just wanted to make mention that I did attend one of the meetings with Bill Brewer, and I did get assigned a volunteer coach. So it does, they do have volunteers that's happily ready to help you.
Okay, thank you,
Also,
Brenda.
there's-
Yeah, so definitely reach out to Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Also,
give
there's a
another
program out there that helps people who's been out of work for at least 3 years or more. I'll try to see if I can find the information, put it in chat.
That'll be great. Thank you. Glenn, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just another recommendation for Bill Brewer's group. Bill doesn't do the coaching and stuff, but they do have several different people. I haven't used them in several years, but another recommendation for Bill's group, because there are maybe half a dozen or more people that he works with through that group.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Another question, something else we can ask. Leon, I see
Yeah,
you unmuted your mic.
Yes, I have a question about to have a special site other than the LinkedIn to have presenting you. So I think it's something good to have. Who can or where can I learn how to do it right, and what is the right way to do it, even put as a consultant and looking for different alternatives until a job come up?
So you're asking about another, beside having a LinkedIn profile, what else should you do?
Correct. There's sometimes they say, okay, if there's a special personal site when you have your personal information, some other presenting yourself, selling yourself in a different way for a consulting services.
Oh, sort of to set up your own personal website.
Yes.
Well, that's a very long, complicated discussion. The easiest thing to do, probably most people, if they want a simple down and dirty website, they build a WordPress website. If you want to, I don't think it's worth building a personal website for your job, because that's what LinkedIn should do. And LinkedIn's going to have much better search abilities. Recruiters are not going to find you with a personal website. They're going to find you because they're going to find you on LinkedIn. Now, if you want to start your own consulting business and you're going to start create a separate company to do that, then yeah, you need your own personal website. And
but it doesn't work.
We can talk about that offline, but just get your LinkedIn profile, maximize it, use all the words you can, use all those keywords. If nothing's happening, go change a couple things until you get things right. because that's how you're going to be found. Check next Tuesday for our LinkedIn presentation. Our speaker is Kurt Vonnemotter, who is a retained recruiter. He's going to show us what the LinkedIn package looks like from his perspective, from the recruiting package looks like. He spends $10,000 to $15,000 a year paying for the full-blown package, and he's going to tell you right up front, you need to do this, 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 and this so that I can find you. And keywords are number one. Number two, being active on LinkedIn, replying to people who, if somebody sends you a comment, just don't ignore it. If you're not interested, just respond no, because they want to show some, activity. It's very, very important. That's one of the options he can pick right up front. So, most likely to see. Make sure you put on there that you're open to work. Put in that green banner on there, because you want to let your friends, family, any of your acquaintances, everybody know that, you're looking, because you never know. They may see you and go, oh, I used to work with Leon. Oh, he was great. I didn't know you were out looking for a job. So those are all the things. And join us next Tuesday. It'll be a very interesting presentation, always a very interesting presentation with them as far as maximizing LinkedIn. But, personal websites, unless you're running a business,
it doesn't work. Okay.
Unless you want to learn the skills. I mean, that's the other thing.
No. I see many times when you apply also, they are asking if there's any other link or something. And I see very common that is asking not only the LinkedIn URL. So I was saying, okay, probably now it's the trend to start getting that. All right. Thank you. I think you answered the question.
You're very welcome. All right. There was a question here. Let me look back here.
Jeff, it's Leora.
Yes.
I put in more information regarding Bill Brewer, his phone number and the address of the church and everything in there. And also regarding that green banner, I heard that LinkedIn is going to be taking that away soon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thanks.
Interesting. I wonder what, well, that's an interesting, I haven't read that yet, but that's, LinkedIn's always changed. Every day you go on LinkedIn, it's something a little bit different. I think somebody asked about references. I don't see the text message about how to handle when somebody how does one handle provide references request? Who to ask, how long ago, the connections with the person, what's the protocol? So I have an answer to that, but I'm gonna let you all answer it first. So what do you all think about, how do you handle references?
Jeff, my first recommendation would be to have that conversation with individuals that you think would be a good reference for you. Have that conversation early. As somebody who has been an unaware reference, it can be a little unsettling when somebody calls you and says, Jan Smith put you down as a reference, and you don't remember exactly the dates that she worked for you because you were not prepared to answer that question. I think another one that's really important is when you do talk to people about references, if you have star stories or events that you would like them to talk about, that they have information about, I would share that information with them ahead of time and just say, hey, if I can, first of all, get their permission. If you can use them for a reference and you want to lead them in a particular direction, that this is what I would like you to speak to. I think most people who are references will appreciate that, because then they're not trying to draw from their own memory what they think is important. And if they tell you that they don't want to do that, I think they'll be really honest with you, but be really careful about who you pick as a reference. Make sure that it is somebody that will be an advocate. I usually recommend that if you're talking with a lot of people, and hopefully you are, people who know you professionally, know you personally, usually the best referencers are going to be people who've said, hey, how can I help, man? How can I help you with your job search? Those people are going to be a much better advocate for you than somebody that you're effectively cold calling that maybe you worked for 5, 6 years ago. It can still work out, but you want to be really thoughtful about that.
I would say I agree with David that I know that the references that I put down when in an application, when they ask for references up front, I already know that those people are going to give me a very good reference. They've already, like you said, David, they're in my corner. what I do is I send them a copy of the job description so that they can see what they're looking for. And now they have some talking points so they can isolate maybe one of those requirements and really tout, my ability to perform that particular skill.
This is one of the topics I know I talk about when I give presentations, and people, should you let your references know they may be contacted? There was a gentleman several years ago who came to a Friday meeting, and he said, Jeff, I had this great interview on Wednesday. We're talking before the meeting started. I had this great interview on Wednesday. They asked for my references. Do you think I should let them know they may be contacted? And I just put my hands in my head, put my head in my hands, and I just shook my head and I went, yes, that would be an excellent idea. In fact, I think I have a whole tip of the week I wrote about that, because I went home right away, wrote a tip, and that became the tip of the week next week. Of course, you want your references to know, because they can help sell you into a job. If you're asked for references, as soon as you're asked and you give, number one, you've got 3 to 5 people who you can use. You've had conversations with them, hopefully beforehand. You let them know as soon as they've asked, hey, I just want to let you know I gave your name to XYZ company, so you may be getting a phone call from them. Personally, I don't answer any phone calls that I don't have in my contact list. But if I saw one from XYZ company, I go, oh, I know I'm supposed to be giving David a reference for that company. At least I may answer it. And let them know what the job description is, like Lynn said. Let them know what the pain points were. We talked about in the interview that, they really need somebody who can do X, Y, and Z. And, when we worked together, this is what I did. Or when you wrote my review, you said in my review that I was really good at doing this and this and this, so, please, let somebody know, send them an email, call them up, tell them who could be contacting them, what the pain points for the company are, so they can help talk, because it can be a great selling tool. It can really help you into a job. Once again, that's one of those things that you need to do at the beginning of a job search. You've got to already have 3 to 5 people that you can use as references. Don't wait until they ask and you go, oh, who can I use? Okay, so that's one of those things. I just want everybody to know, I'm actually, last week I was on a Zoom call on Monday, and there was a person on the call, and she was sort of down because she had a really bad week the week before. She'd gotten a couple of no's, and she really wasn't sure what she was going to, it was just too many no's and not enough yeses, and having to sort of reassess what was going on. And so I asked this question, not necessarily to her, but to the group. How do you assess when you get that no? What do you stop and think about? Well, why maybe did I get a no? Now, a lot of times it's not your fault. It's just what happens. But did I answer the questions correctly when they called me? Did I fill something? Did I have a misspelling on my resume? What kind of personal evaluation? So I started a list that's right now, it's about a page. I started a list, it was 1 page. It's now up to 2 pages. And I've sent it out to a lot of career leaders and stuff around the DFW area for them to look at the list, think about it, add more comments. So it's sort of the no checklist. And when I get it prepared, I will make sure I get it out to everybody, because one of the very first step is, even before you get that first no, is what have you prepared? Is your LinkedIn profile complete? Do you have your resume? Do you have a master resume with everything you've done, so you don't have to think about things? Do you have references? I don't have to go add that fact. Have you had references? What other kinds of things, even before you get that first no, so that when you do get that first no, well, I got the first no on an ATS system. Well, did you do this, and this, on the ATS system? Did you, after your first interview, you got to know after your first interview, well, did you practice at the pit crew? Did you do the interview success workshop? Did you practice more than one time? So I'm trying to put together a pretty comprehensive list that I'll get out to people here in the next few weeks. I'm waiting on feedback from more of the leaders around the DFW area. But I just thought it'd be an interesting, do you evaluate what happens when you get that no? Now, you don't want to spend too much time on it, but you know, I guess at the very bottom, you need to put on there, go eat an ice cream cone, you know, do something good for yourself and move on. What else would somebody like to talk about?
Well, just as a comment to that, the most difficult piece of job search career advice I was ever given was to let go of your need for an outcome. And it made me really, really angry, and still kind of makes me frustrated at times, but it was the best piece of advice that I was ever given. And I try not to dwell on the no, because I learned a very difficult lesson about that a number of years ago. I really, really wanted this job in this really great creative environment. I was very excited about it. I was sent there by a recruiter. I won't go into the exact details, but I was there for a total of 7 minutes. I went through, maybe I should have worn this, maybe I should have answered that, and I did that for a long time. Fast forward to 6 months down the road, I talked to another recruiter who had been with that company that was no longer there, that was willing to dish the dirt. And she said to me, "Oh, you were never going to be considered. They were never going to offer you the job. You were just sent there as a decoy so they could do something else." It's a lot more detail to that, and I'm not going to get into it. But so you never know. And you can spend so much time thinking me, when it was never you. And sometimes you just have to take the hit of that no and move on. But I do have a question if I can ask it real quickly. I spent 11 years in the senior living sector at the corporate level in marketing, and then they had a foundation on the foundation side. Last September, I got reached out to by a recruiter for another senior living company, same scenario. They have a corporate position, they have a foundation. I have both sides of that experience. I didn't move forward in the process. In research last week, I found out that a search firm is looking for a high-level position within that company's foundation. I don't qualify at that level, but do you reach out to the search firm and say, "Hey, I notice you've got X. When they start to build up their team, I've got X"? Or do you reach out to the original recruiter and say, "Hey, I've noticed," except for I think she's moved on to another company, or the search firm actually gives the name of the CEO. Do you reach out to the CEO through LinkedIn and just DM and say, "Hey, I don't know." Any thoughts?
Suggestions, anybody?
Why
I
do
have
you ask the
I have
question?
lots of thoughts. I just don't want to share them. I'll let everybody else.
Fair enough.
My question to you is, why is this an or question?
Why is what?
Why is it an or? Why do you have to choose A, B, or C? Why don't you
Well,
do A, B, and C?
Oh. I hadn't thought of it that way. Good point.
I mean, I would say if it's an executive search firm, they were probably hired just to do this one high-level position.
Right.
So they're not going to have any involvement with the rest of it. But why not reach out to them? And why not, like Walt said, reach out to everybody.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
And a follow-up to the whole no issue. Yes, you're right, Deborah. You don't want to follow up, you don't want to hung up on what the no is. That's why I thought, here's a quick little checklist that you can go through and go, I did this, I did this, I did this. Okay, it's not up to me. Yeah. I don't remember the speaker. One of the speakers that we've had here, or I've heard somewhere, who says, the best thing you can do is get a no, because when you get a no, it's done, it's over with, and you move on. It's when you don't hear anything and you're in that limbo land that really is the worst thing. And Steve Zipkoff, who we tried to do a couple of weeks ago, and we'll get scheduled again here, one of the things he says is when you get that no, you go and say, well, thank you very much, because research shows at Career DFW that after 7 no's, the eighth company is going to say yes. And you were my 7th no. I know the next company that I could talk to is going to say yes. And he says he's had people the next day come back to him and say, well, maybe we need to talk some more. You know, just because you showed that enthusiasm of putting that behind you and moving on, and you know that the next company is going to be a yes.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
all
you.
how you frame it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jeff, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, Jason.
It's always important to remember a couple things. One, they didn't say no. They didn't say no. They said not right now. Do you understand the difference? If you've conducted yourself professionally and during the interview process and it's now 4 to 6 weeks later, there's no reason you can't pick up the phone, call them back, remind them who you are, when you talked, and see, you know, what else is going on. Like, you know, what if the person they hired didn't work out? What if there's growth and they need somebody in a similar role? Or what if, you know, the person they hired won the lottery and moved to Hawaii? I mean, you never know what's going to happen. The point being, guys, anytime you talk to somebody, an employer, your networking attempts and efforts, they should always be moving forward. Always. They should never just die and nothing happens. I mean, you had a conversation with somebody. That is a warm lead. Now, don't be a pest. Don't call them every day, but like follow up once every 4 to 6 weeks. That's about perfect. The other thing too is you're never going to really probably know what the no was or the not right now was when they passed on you for the job. But here's something to remember and consider, because guys, even though things are opening up, we are still in a pandemic and there are still a lot of people that are out of work. Every job posting right now is getting anywhere from 150 to 200 applicants. Okay. You had an interview. Guess what just happened? There was only one person that outmarketed you. Just one. You beat out 199 other people. That's amazing. Think about it. That's how good you are. That's how good you are. You beat out 199 other people. And, you know, like Jeff just said, hey, that next one, or it's just sales in general. I don't know if anybody's ever been in sales, but like in sales, you get that smile and dial, and every no gets you that much closer to your yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I know of two people in the from the North Dallas group that they were in the finals. They didn't get selected. Somebody else got selected, but they followed up 60 days later and just sent an email back to the hiring manager. I really enjoyed, you know, meeting you. I just want to let you know I'm still looking for an opportunity. I didn't know if there's something new that's opened up in your company. And they blew out the person they hired and brought this person in because either the person didn't fit in the organization or they couldn't do what they said they could do. So, you know, you made it easy for some of these organizations if they go, yeah, this person really isn't cutting it. You know, by, hey, I'm still here. I'd still love to work for you. What else can we do? Is there anything new happening in your company? So definitely, like Jason said, reach out to people.
How you say no is a strong differentiator. When you say it very positively, when you accept that no and send it back. In fact, one person, when they contacted, said, oh, I'm so glad you contacted us. We sent you the wrong letter. You should have gotten an offer letter. So you just never, so always never burn your bridge. Always stay different, stay positive. That makes a difference.
Right. All right, what else can we talk about?
Well, back on that last topic, let me just say something, because I can't go past this without talking about target companies. Okay, so if you've got your list of target companies, you've done your research, and you know, if you're, you know, a year or two or three into your job search, you know where you want to work. So, you know, be persistent, persevere, and companies are hiring all the time. So just, you know, you want to work there long term, you know, so you're building a relationship with them. So, and Deborah, in your case, you know, you're going to reach out to all of those choices and say, yeah, you know, I really admire company A, and I see or I've heard, or I see that there's been a job posting and it matches my experience and maybe a little bit higher level, but I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that I'd be interested in any positions at related to the foundation for senior living care at that company.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, this is Jennifer. Since we're here, can we practice? Tell me about yourself, like introductions. Because what I've learned is like, you begin with, I'm excited for this chance to speak with you. Thank you for this opportunity. Then you say the next thing, say, my research show your company is, for this company, is a manufacturing company, innovative, continue to grow. It's as reflect in the revenue grew 4 times over the years, and provide solution, and the pan product monster. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And then you said, this aligned with my experience. Over 16 years, I'm in manufacturing. My problem solving skill, negotiation skill, and last position, I came up with solution with the negotiation, the contract from a firm fixed price to a hybrid, which is a firm fixed price line and a cost reimbursable. So I talked a little bit about that. And saying that it's a set a new way of doing contract and save the company over 500 million and avoid loss and avoid dispute later on. So I talk about that. And then the last question I would say, what are 3 most characteristics that you think this person in this position have? So is it something like that? Is it a good introduction or?
How long does it take you to do that?
Maybe 3 minutes, 90 seconds.
There's a big difference between 90 seconds and 3 minutes. And so brief is better. Brief is better. So first thing is nice, clear, concise, and brevity on that. And then my question is how much of your introduction is about you and how much is the introduction about them? So you told them and you described their company and you say, gee, you're this kind of company and all that stuff, and that's kind of exciting. And so that's not bad. But when you really want to talk about is I'm excited about this position and the things that I can help you achieve. For example, and then you give your example of your achievement or whatever it might be. So look at the frame of reference and say how much of my content is about me and how much of the content's about them. So you want a little bit about I am, I do, and I help in your intro.
Okay. I was told to say my research shows I did that you did the research about the company, because I guess it's changed it.
Well, it depends on what research you're talking about. If you're just giving information that's on the first page of their website, that's
no, it's actually
not very different.
Well, it shows some of their, but I had to go to the reference solution to search more about them because I couldn't find in the internet about them. And that's why I learned about their financial, how they grew. But yeah, okay.
In my introduction outline, which is just an option for others, it includes why this job appeals to me and why does this company, why do I want to work here? So I'm going to answer, why do you want to work here?
Okay.
In a couple of sentences. I'm going to answer, why do you want to do this job in a couple of sentences? And in that, why you want to do this job is included the things you can help them achieve. By doing these types of activities, I can help you increase revenue, give a generality of something you can help them do. And then, for example, and follow it up with that specific that you mentioned. So I think you're on track. It sounds like you got some good stuff. Yeah, and it really depends on how you say it. I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited to be here. I look forward to talking with you today. And my background and experience. If so many people say, why does this fit? My background and experience is a good fit. Well, everybody's background and experience is probably a good fit. They wouldn't be interviewing you if it didn't happen. So we don't want to have those generalities. You give this stuff. Think of an interviewer. How many times do they hear this stuff? Think of your email. You want to know status. If you send me an email and I'm hiring and you say, well, I'm just wanting to touch base with you. I wanted to find out the status of the job. Oh yeah, I got plenty of time to answer all these requests. No, that's not what I say there. I say, just want to touch base with you, let you know I'm still very interested in the company. I really like this about you. I really like this opportunity, or Or I might follow up with anybody. I really like what we talked about this, and I have some ideas that maybe we can move forward on that. Something that comes out very different that shows you're excited about that company and that job and how you can help them. That's the difference.
I think is it Clayton that says, I want to be the Tylenol to your headache, or so to show how, to show how you
I want to be the bacon in your breakfast.
I like that one. I like that one. Want me to Tylenol to your headache? I like that.
I do like that.
I have a question, Jeff.
Jennifer,
Go ahead,
you know, some of your phrasing could go like this, you know. So I've learned about your company. Here's what I've learned about your company. I've learned that it's growing pretty, you know, at a pretty high rate. And in my last role, you know, the company that I worked for grew, you know, until give the answer, right? So now you said I've worked for a fast growing company, and that's something that attracts you as well. You covered both in a few words. You can also say, and I also have learned that you're very profitable, and I contributed a lot to my company's success financially by my hybrid what'd you call it? Hybrid contract development skills.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're both answering the question why you're interested in job and how you can help, you know, all in one, basically one sentence. So think of those types of phrases that,
Okay. Got
you know, because as Walt said, just reciting your research is, you know, doesn't show enthusiasm. It just shows you did research. But if you can connect what they do to what you've done in the past and indicate how you thrive in that environment and how you amplify their success, then, you know, that's a much stronger explanation of why you're interested and what you can do for them.
okay.
All right,
All
we get a question on the chat. How do you handle refusals from a company that when you're going to refuse the job offer? So what do you do when you get a job offer and you decide not to take it? How do you handle that?
You send them an email and say, I found a company more qualified. Thank you for your interest. I'll keep your job opening on file.
It was close, but you came in second. That's a good question. Well, that's a type 2 problem. That's a problem of riches there, huh?
Anybody else comments? I'm sure there's a reason why you probably didn't want the job. It'd be interesting to know.
Oh, it's Leora. I have a question.
Okay.
I had a recruiter call me regarding a job, and it's been about a week. How long do I have to wait before calling her back? Because she said that right now they got a couple of candidates who came out of a bigger bank that's more in line with this bank, and that she'll let me know about next steps. You know, so they're following up with those two before they'll even look at my resume.
7 days.
So I can follow up next week with her, and
but I would have, during that conversation, I would have clarified during that conversation, well, when should I check back with you? If I don't hear back from you by next Tuesday, is it okay if I call you?
It was by email that she responded.
By email. Well, then I would respond by email. I would do the exact same thing and just say, you know, if I don't hear from you by immediately when I got the email, I would have just gone back and said, I look forward to hearing from you. If I don't hear from you by next Tuesday, I will call you Tuesday at 10 a.m. And you call her Tuesday at 10 a.m. And that gives you a week to track her down, find out who she works for, find her phone number, and you call Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And when you call Tuesday at 10 o'clock, if she goes to voicemail, I'm sorry I missed you. I'm really excited about hearing more about the job. I will call you Thursday at 11. And you call Thursday at 11. Be persistent.
Okay. And what happens when a recruiter
to call now? Do you? I mean, to email now to make an inquiry. I mean, if it's been 7 days, I would think that there would be some kind of a bite, that it wouldn't hurt to look now. Do you agree with that?
When you say to look now, what do you mean?
to respond now, to inquire. 7 days is a long time to pass to me.
Yeah. I mean, in the recruiting world, it probably moves a lot quicker than that. I mean, they're gonna try to do something in a day or two because they're gonna move on to the next job that they're trying to fill.
I have another question regarding that or any job. When a recruiter tells you in the end, no, supposedly, can you follow up later on with the company and just say, I was presented by a recruiter to your company. I really was interested in the job. Was there anything I would love to be considered for any other position that you may have open that would fit my skills or something to that effect?
I think I would just add, I no longer have a relationship with that recruiting firm or something to let them know that, if they were to hire you, that that they don't need to go through the recruiting firm. They may or may not honor that, but, I would make it clear in that when you reached out to them that you're no longer bound by them, because there goes 25% of your first year salary.
Got it. Okay, so I can do that with practically anyone. Just say afterwards, I no longer have a relationship with them.
I mean, what does somebody else think about that? I mean,
I think it really depends on who are you following up with, the recruiter or with another person in the company?
That's why I'm asking, can I go directly to the company? Because I doubt the recruiter will know about another position or they'll even look for me for another position in that company.
Have you signed an agreement with that recruiter?
No, not with any recruiter.
Okay, then you can do anything you want. All right, you're not going around or doing anything like that. I don't know why you need to bring up the negative and say, I previously applied and I didn't get it. I mean, why even say that? Just say, I'm really interested in this company. Just go at it like you hadn't even been there, done it before.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, that
I mean,
sounds
if they
good.
ask you, they may go and look, and then they may, when they contact you, I see you applied for this job, blah, blah, blah. And you say, yeah, I'm very interested in this company. So I've been applying for jobs.
Okay,
We
thank
can't let a rejection stop us from getting a job in our target company.
Okay, thank you so much. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Did we answer the question about how to respond and and turn down an offer adequately?
No, we didn't. We had a
Couple
little
of good answers.
Well, a little bit of levity, but I've thought about it for a minute.
I got
a more serious answer.
Yes, I think we had a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question. It makes sense to contact a recruiter for the targeting company, that you are targeting the company and you saw a position there, but you don't have any contact. Makes sense to contact the recruiter to LinkedIn, any recruiter for that company?
Does it make sense to do that? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it does. If you have a specific, so let's say you find a job, you need to have a basis for calling them. Then, you can call in and say, I'd like to talk to the recruiter for this position. You may have to go on LinkedIn to find that out, but, and then you reach out to the recruiter and say, I believe I have the qualifications you're looking for. And, for that specific job. And there you go. Now, of course, that has to be true that, you think you're a pretty good match. And then you get a chance to explain to them why.
And I just want to clarify this or just make sure that we're on the same page. If this is an external recruiter or recruiting firm, you don't want to do that. If it's an internal recruiter, yes. And if you don't know who to even reach out to, just go to LinkedIn, type in senior recruiter at that company and reach out to those people or head of recruiting or head of HR.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go as high as you can and let it trickle down, because that's how you're going to get that phone call, because the boss is going to say, hey, go call this person.
Okay.
So let's talk about, that's a good comment, Jeff. Let's talk about external recruiters for just a second. It's pretty rare. Wish I could put a number on that, but let's say companies change recruiting firms frequently. or they may have a stable, and then when they have a stable, they may have 4 or 5 recruiting firms they use, and they dole out jobs to each one of them, right? And they do that because they get them competing with each other on price, right? And so, and you know, and it's not unusual for them to be, 6 months from now to be using different recruiters. So your obligation to an external recruiter is dramatically diminished, after a few months. So just keep that in mind.
All right, do we want to go, let's go back to the burn.
Yeah, let's go back to that question.
Yeah, let's go back to how do you turn down an offer?
Walt, you want to go?
Put yourself in the terms of the person you are sending a message to. All right. What would be nice for them to hear? Number one, you don't want to burn a bridge. All right. You always want to keep opportunities open. They still become connections for you. There still might be a chance for them. Jobs aren't lasting very long these days. So you don't want to burn that bridge, but you can come back to them and say, no, I have had another opportunity that I've made a decision to take a different offer. The decision was tough. It was difficult because I really thought that this would be a good place. I would really like to work there, maybe sometime in the future, something like that. But we don't ever get a chance to look positive to them if we just do nothing. So come back. Don't want to burn it. There's other ways you can say it. Say, it was great talking with you. I really appreciate your offer. I've decided to take another offer. And you don't have to go into reasons why. You don't have to do anything like that. But just say, it was really a positive experience. You're a great company, great, whatever it might be. Just make it short and simple and positive.
Right. I think you should include some words about, how interested you are or were, just how interested you are. I'd use the present tense in the company, and grateful for the conversations that you had, and then, lay the reason on them that, that you're going in a different direction, or you've accepted a position at another company.
I like what Jason said. It's like breaking up with someone, you can still be friends.
Yeah, but you want
right.
to, you want to reinforce the positive things you got out of the interaction and the reason you were interested in the company. I mean, what are you concerned about? You're concerned that they get the impression that maybe you weren't genuine, you weren't ever really considering them, you were just, doing it for sport or whatever. So you want to allay those fears and keep the door open that, things change in the future. So, it wasn't the company, it was the job. It's not you, it's me. It wasn't the company, it's the job.
And you may even want to add, I happen to know a contact who I think may be a good fit for this. Would you like that person's name? Help them out.
Great idea.
All right, well, we're just about out of time here, so let me do a quick little share screen if I can get my computer. I really miss not having my whole desktop here. All right, well, next up, thanks. I think we had a great discussion today, a lot of great answers, and hopefully some funny stuff we threw in there too. Next Friday, Rick Martinez, who's the president and CEO of R2 Technologies. If you don't know who that is, go check him out on LinkedIn. He is a recruiter, and he fills a lot of technical jobs. If you're a technical person, you may want to check Rick out. He's going to talk about why your next job should be a contract role. And let's see here, we go. For those people who have not done so, please, in the chat box, please put in your 30-second introductions. Please let us know who you are and how we can help you. I will get all that information out to everybody. It will not be this weekend. It'll be Monday before I can get that email out to everybody, because I don't have all the resources I need to get the email out today. But if I get it out early, I know I'll have it out on Monday. I may get it out before then. Maybe while I'm sitting at the airport on Sunday, I'll knock it out while I'm sitting there. So please put your information in the target into the chat box. And like I said, for those people watching on Facebook, I will go delete your personal information right after the meeting. Please join us. We're putting on training 5 days a week. Lunch and learn. Grab your lunch and join us. In fact, today at 1 o'clock, you can join Women of Wisdom. If you'd like to be invited, you need to send an email to wow@careerdfw.org. You do need to be a woman, and you do need to be either in search of wisdom or have wisdom. And the reason for it is because the reason they limit the attendance is because there's a lot of discussion going on. And so this week, their topic's going to be, how are you being stressed out, or are you struggling with issues during your job search? That'll be what they focus on today. Next Monday, for Interviewing Mondays, we bring in a different speaker every Monday for the last almost 12 weeks. Every week we've had a different speaker. Locke Alderson will be with us this Monday to talk about networking to network. So join us Monday at 1 o'clock. Tuesdays, we do LinkedIn. I've already mentioned Kurt Bondemater will be with us to talk about LinkedIn from a recruiter's eye. You'll get to see the recruiting package, the back end of LinkedIn that we don't get to, we don't get to see unless you're ready to pay those big bucks to get that package. Next Wednesday, we've mentioned before, interviewing session number 2, preparing for a specific interviewing and networking part 1. And then next Thursday, resume tips and tricks. In fact, we have a special guest speaker next Thursday. It will be Tony Becerra from Babbage and Associates. He's going to share the top 10 resume mistakes that people make in their resumes. Tony sees hundreds of resumes on a daily basis. He's hired or he's placed thousands and thousands of people over the last many, many years of him working at Babbage and Associates. So if you're interested, it should be a very interesting presentation. We're giving Carol the week off next Thursday. So Tony Becerra will be with us next Thursday. The session has been recorded. It will be on the Career FW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook. That way, every time we go live, you'll get a little alert on your phone. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, every time we post a video, you'll get a little email saying, we've posted a new video. It's not my channel, it's your channel. It's all your great information that's out there. It's the Career USA YouTube channel. It looks something like this, Career USA on YouTube. Be sure to click on playlist and then select the list that you want. Resumes, interviewing, LinkedIn, the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group speakers, Frisco, networking, whatever it is. Don't click on the video down below, but click where you see that red arrow where it says view full playlist. And that will allow you to see a list of all the topics that we've talked about, and you can go back and see that information. Well, thank you for joining us today. Tony, thank you for your presentation. Thanks for everybody for talking and stepping up and offering your questions and answers. And have a great weekend, and we will see you hopefully one day next week.
Hey, Jeff, before you go, could you tell us, how do we get the tip of the week from you? How do we get access to that?
Just go to the Career DFW or careerusa.org website, and you'll see the tip of the week right there in the middle. You click on it, and it will launch the full tip. It changes every Saturday about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And all the old tips are there also, so you can go back and view any of the old tips that we've done in the past.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.